honestly, this is probably the first book you read cover to cover without cheating, without Spark Notes, Wikipedia. Raise your hand.
Can we get that on camera? Wow.
Now, also by that same show of hands, when I told you we were going to be doing this before we started reading the book, how many of you were dreading the idea of, oh crap, we're going to have to read a book? All right, and maybe Zach's just, sitting next to Alex. And then, how many of you guys, again, by show of hands, how many of you guys, when you got through the first chapter or the first couple chapters, you started relating to, oh man, this is actually pretty damn good. It fits in with what we're doing. Yeah. And so I think that was my thing that I'll remember about Where Hope Lives. It truly is probably the first book that these kids have read.
I finished Where Hope Lives because the topic is very relatable. I think everyone in this room, or high schoolers, or just teenagers in general, have been discriminated against, as was Allie in her book and her experience. So I think it's pretty easy for teenagers, almost anybody, to just pick it up and be able to relate to that context of being discriminated against, which makes it easy to read.
I read Hope Lives Strikes Back because I really believe in the message, and the message that you can just believe in yourself and get through pretty much anything. Any sort of adversity that you need to come up against. Just being able to think through it and tell yourself, no, I won't give up, is a very important lesson for everyone, no matter what their age is.
Thank you.
I read the book Where Hope Lives from front to back because at the end of every chapter it inspired me and intrigued my interest on what was going to happen next. And I guess it's very relatable because I've had firefighters in my family and I wanted to know what would happen next and what was going on in Allie's life. I've been actually talking to my English teacher about getting the book. For me, it's, like I said, very inspirational, and I got a lot out of the book. I'm pretty sure other students would.
What was the most powerful thing you got out of the book, Dub?
That she actually stood up for herself in the book.
Do you think that's a message that high school students need to hear?
A lot of high school students should, because of the bullying that's going on. It would teach them how to stand up for themselves in that situation.
The book is basically about be all you can be, and I think with a lot of teachers trying to push that aspect, I think that book would reinforce that mentality, and that's where it comes in.
I think that the teacher would maybe be able to focus a little less on the firefighting and more about the central points in the book. It's not so much about the profession of firefighting, although that is a big part of it. It's more of the struggle and how to get through it, and that can be applied to anything in life, no matter what you're doing.
I think that for me, putting the words on paper helped me focus on the story and understand the messages a little bit better instead of taking the words at face value and kind of think about them while I was writing about them.
Thank you for that, Bryce.
I think that writing is the best way to really learn or express your feelings about anything, because I used to have a teacher that said that writing helps you learn in different ways. You say it to yourself, you write it down again, and I think it's just kind of making everything a little bit more permanent than if you just spoken.
With writing with the story, it helped me anyway, relate to the story and follow along with it better. That way I was taking a journal, like relating the story to my life, and then it makes you want to read more. That way you can see what else you can
So helping you write actually helped you relate the story to some things that were happening in your life.
My opinion is that I really don't like writing at all, but writing down what we wrote down was it helped us to remember better what we read and the message in the chapter or any section of the story we're reading, and it also helped us to express our points of views. I don't like writing at all, but at the same time, I like to write down what I read and I like to express my views. So.
about it because I love to read. That's mainly what I do in my free time, and to enjoy another good book, it made me feel good.
Good. Yes, Kevin.
Honestly, I don't like to read, but like I don't know. I'm the type of person, like, if I read 2 chapters and I'm already like not interested, I don't like to like pick it up again. But her book kept me hooked all the way to the end. So. Mainly because you can relate to it so much, and you kind of like feel sort of like what she felt.
I thought when we, right before we had started, that it would be a much more straight and narrow experience where we would read a few chapters and then write something down and read another few chapters. And it was that, but there were some more personal activities that we did that kind of branched off of that and made it more interesting, I think, to everyone than if we had just been given a certain amount of chapters to read and then just write something.
Can you give me an example? Can you remember the activities that you're talking about?
I think that the separate activity where we had to write down a quote or aspect of the book that inspired us in a certain chapter in a certain way kind of made us go through the chapter a little bit more meticulously and see what we could think out. So that was a little more fun than just reading straight through.
I felt curious at the end because I wanted to understand what the book was really about. I heard that it was about firefighting, but I didn't really think that it was really deep, and it had a lot of personal experiences, and I don't really think it had a lot of strong emotions to it. So I was actually very curious about it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
At the beginning, I actually just thought it was just another book that we had to read. And then once I started reading it, and then once we met Allie, it made it really easy for me to like enjoy the book and actually like read it and enjoy it. And it just made it much easier once everything came together.
So she came in and talked to you a little bit about the book. How did that help with continuing to read the book?
It kind of made the book like a little bit more personal, because it's like we connected as a class and with Allie. So it's like just that connection made it easier for me to keep reading.
Not everybody's gonna help you with what you want, and you gotta find the right people to help you and motivate you to go keep doing what you want to do. I would say, like, simply believe in yourself, like, because I think a lot of people are gonna try to bring you down and discourage you and stuff. But if you keep that strong belief in yourself that you know you can do it, and not stop you.
I'd say that it's never give up in the face of adversity, because as we progress past high school, that's what we're going to be facing for our entire lives, is adversity, and being able to deal with that is a very vital skill.
Thank you. Unique.
If you really do like something, you'll stick to it no matter how hard things get, and you always give 110%, no matter what it is.
Good life lessons. Go ahead, Tom.
The thing that I got out of the book is like nothing's handed to you. You have to always work for something that you really want, and no matter what people say or do towards you, like that can't stop you.
Oh, go ahead.
Never give up and pursue your dreams. Don't stop fighting.
Will always remember about where hope lives is that you can always do what you want as long as you put your mind to it and stay strong and believe in yourself and stuff.
The one thing that I always remember about where hope lives is how it kind of brought us more out, some of us more out of our comfort zone, maybe exposed a little more of a creative side that we may not have seen before.
Thank you. Go ahead, Unique.
The one thing I'll always remember about where hope lives is if you really do love something, you won't stop until you get it.
The one thing that I always remember about where hope lives is the unity that it brought us together. It really helped us express our feelings.
The one thing that I will always remember about where hope lives is to never stop fighting for what you want and don't give up until you get it.
The one thing that I will always remember about where hope lives is that people will trample over you. Like, it's just your choice if you want to do something about it.
The one thing that I will always remember about Where Hope Lives is it was like the first book that I read cover to cover. Like in my whole life, even throughout my English classes, I spark note things, look at the summaries, and just didn't do it. But this book I could actually relate to, and it was just an easy book to read.
Thank you for that.
The one thing I remember from Where Hope Lives is that life will keep beating you down. It's up to you to keep fighting back at it.
The one thing that I will always remember about Where Hope Lives is quitting should never be an option.
The one thing I remember about Where Hope Lives is to never give up, to always try to prosper. No matter how many hardships you go through, which this was perfect timing because I was going through a hardship. I lost my great grandmother. She meant a lot to me. And hearing Allie going through her story and what she was going through, it helped me with my mentality to get through what I was going through. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, and then just, I mean, you guys have kind of said it, you know, if I would have stopped after that first day, this never would have happened, but please know, I never, ever, ever, ever could have imagined something that as cool as this would happen. I never thought anyone would ever care about what I had to say. Never thought I would have anything to say. Never thought I would have someone who believed in the story enough to teach it to you guys. I never thought that it would have the impact that it has, and it hasn't even been around that long. Sorry. So just know that you guys mean so very much to me, and everywhere I go, every conference I speak at, I'm traveling all over the summer, I always talk about you guys and how, and just how important you guys are to me. So check back, talk to me. There's a Facebook page for the book as well as my own one, so just keep in touch with me because I want to keep in touch with all of you guys.
Well, watching how they've risen up to the occasion, and again, relating the story to the assignments, you know, all right, we're going to make the best of this, we're going to go through it, we're going to get through it, we're going to put our stamp on it, we're going to be the best at what we're doing here. And I think that they really have. I think they rose to the challenge. How many of you have ever met the author of a book? Now you put a face with the words. And again, it brings the story together even more, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
It gives a face to hope. It's one thing to see the picture on the back of the book, but it's another thing to meet the person. If we take what we've read from Allie and what we've learned from Allie's lessons, and we pass that on to other people, we make Allie immortal, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Take what Allie has given you and pass that on and make her immortal, and then her name will echo through eternity.